Hello, YouTube. It's me, Fatty McFattyface, and I guess it's a part two. This is a part two to the podcast that I made. Kind of podcast, not really sure. And this topic is not even going to be related to the first one in any way. This is going to be talking about audio because audio is complicated. And this might end up being longer because audio is complicated. Like I said, audio is a very interesting topic to talk about because audio does not tend to have any right answers. Audio is very, very, very subjective and is very dependent on preference. Some people might listen to this podcast and wish that my microphone was a little more brighter, had a little bit more top end detail to it. But I would rebuttal against that and say, no, I don't want that because if your ears are sensitive to higher frequencies, you wouldn't want to listen to this podcast for a long time because those higher frequencies would be annoying to your ears. To your ears, enunciate me. And some people might want me to have more low end, more support in my voice. But I decided against that. Not that I think that it sounds bad. I just wanted a more natural form of voice while still having a relatively easy listening experience. Although this is my voice, and my voice sucks. So if you don't like it, then that makes sense to me because I don't like it either, no matter how many times I try fixing it. Audio is subjective even in terms of music. Some people have different ways of mastering their music and different ways of producing that music. And there's so many different things that you can do in terms of audio with just miking a setup. Like the microphone that you use, you can buy a microphone that's like a few dollars, a lavalier microphone. It's not even wireless. You just plug it into something that's in your pocket. Or you can spend $10,000 on a microphone and get something like the Elam. And at that point, you're buying microphones that very professional singers use. But microphones, even in themselves, are very much based on preference because different microphones will pick up on different things. If you get a reference microphone, you're probably trying to capture the most realistic and most detailed sound that you can. If you are getting a microphone like the Shure SM7B, you want an easy listening experience that will not be grating to your viewers or listeners depending on how you're using it. And you also want some good noise rejection because of it being a dynamic microphone. Or you could be buying a microphone like the Elgato Wave 3 or the Wave 1 if you find the Wave 1 used for a good price because you want to be able to like make loud noises into the microphone. You want to be able to yell into it and you want the microphone to not care. And you could also be buying one of those microphones to use EQ on it and make it sound a lot more expensive than it actually was. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. This is a Wave 1 that I'm talking into right now. Does it sound like it was a $50 microphone? No, probably not. Depends on how much you know of audio because some people will think that, oh, I can just spend $50 and it'll sound like that. Probably not. It takes a lot of tuning, which is another thing. Tuning in audio, tuning EQ, which um EQ is a way of controlling how your microphone picks up on frequencies. So you have low end frequencies, that would be bass. You have mid frequencies, that would be like the main parts of your voice. And you have upper end frequencies, which would be like the S's and the T's of your voice. And you can control the way your microphone picks all those noises up in order to get a sound that you like out of it. But every microphone will pick up sound differently, and EQ can work in different ways, and there's other things such as compression, which makes the loud sounds quieter, and the quiet sounds louder. And this is often used on movies in order to ensure that everything is at a listenable level, and this can also be done on podcasts. I do have a compressor on, but I honestly don't even know if it's doing anything. So, woohoo. And there's also things like de-essers, which is what I'm using, which makes the microphone make less S noises. Because S noises are harsh and annoying, and listening to them is bad. If I turn off the de-esser, you can hear that there is more detail in my S's. Now that the de-esser is back on, there's less detail. Well, less harshness, and that makes it so you can listen to it for a longer period of time. And there's like the differences between tube microphones and like FET condenser microphones, if that's the proper term that I'm using. There's dynamics, there's ribbon. It's all a lot of stuff. If you're getting a ribbon microphone, you want all of the low end in the world, and the top end can just go away. You don't want it. But audio is very much based on preference, and like I said, there is no right answers. Even in terms of music and what you listen to, there are no right answers. Everyone has different values and opinions. And that makes it hard, because if you are mastering something, you want it to sound the best that it can sound. But what is the best? That's subjective. And you have to ask many people and get many different opinions, because you can't truly account for every scenario. And there will be other people that have very different opinions. Just asking people a price range of what they think this microphone costs. The low end is like $50, and the highest end estimate was someone who thought that this microphone cost $10,000. Yeah, this microphone was $50 on sale and now it's discontinued. So, like, no, but that means I must have had like the perfect sound according to them. But sound is so subjective, and there's so many things you can do to sound to make sound and audio be the way that you want them to be. There's preamps, and there's specific details of music that you can aim to get by using a certain preamp for coloration. It's so many different things all at once. So don't struggle too badly trying to find all the right answers, because there's too many answers. There's too many of them. There's too many preferences. Get what works for you and make things the way that you want them to be. And if you're doing things pretty good, other people might pick up along with you and think that you're doing pretty good as well. And some people may not like it, but other people may like it. Like with the way that I have tuned this microphone, I wanted it to sound natural, but still be listenable, because natural still does have some harshness to it. But using the de-esser, there's less harshness, and coming through on YouTube, there's even less harshness because they cut frequencies around a certain range. So, yeah, easy to listen to, natural sounding. And compression is another thing too. Not compression as terms of a compressor that you were using on your voice. Compression of audio, which will lower the amount of detail in that audio for the upside of having less storage space taken up by that file. And some people want the most high quality files they can have, and other people just use Spotify, and they don't really hear much of a difference. They don't care to hear that difference. It doesn't really matter to them. Certain headphones, oh god, I'll wait later to get into that, but certain headphones will pick up on different things, just like microphones. And it is all subjective. Okay, headphone time. Headphones will do the same kind of things. Microphones will record things and produce them in different ways. I mean, record them. Yeah, just record them in different ways. Headphones will produce things in different ways depending on what you're going for. And that is also very important, because you might be tuning your microphone to sound one way, but if you're listening back with some like professional headphones that are supposed to be monitoring headphones, such as the SRH 440s from Shure or the MDR 7506s from Sony, you will listen back to that audio and you will think that it may sound bad because you were tuning it with a pair of headphones that colored the sound just as much as the microphone did. And what you were hearing wasn't what was actually being recorded. This can be like limited in some cases depending on what headphones you buy, but headphones will sound different depending on their quality and what kind of sound they are going for. Because monitoring headphones will tend to have more top end details, so you can pick up on more high end frequencies that may be annoying and grating, so you can lower them down. Gaming headphones will tend to have more bass for the rumble of explosions, and they might not have as much top end detail. Cheap earbuds may have no top end at all. It's just gone. There's nothing there. There's no bass, there's no top end, it is just mids. In some cases, it's just top end, there's no mids, there's no bass, and you don't know what you are missing out on. And that's another thing, too. Some people can get like high detail headphones and go back to a lower end experience and not really care. But with someone like me, I got high end headphones, kind of high end. They're just 440s from Shure. They aren't that high end. They're pretty good. I could never go back to the days of $1 earbuds. I could never go back to the cheap gaming headsets that I used to have. I could never do that again. Because the difference of what people are missing out on is crazy with how detailed some songs are. And you just don't know what you're missing until you hear those details. And then you're like, what? That was there the whole time? And I didn't hear it? Yes. Yes, that is audio. That's at least a part of audio. Audio is many, many different things. There's even how people hear sounds differently depending on their hearing level and what their ears will pick up on. It's so many different things all at once, and there's nothing you can do to run away from it. I'm trying not to yawn, but I want to. There's nothing you can do to escape it. It is all coming at you all at once, not like that, because that is how audio is. There's responsiveness even to audio, depending on the headphones you have. It's a lot of things. There's even the drivers of the headphones that you were using. And don't forget about speakers. Speakers have all of these things too. Speakers have all of these problems as well. It's not just headphones. Speakers have their own pickups, and then when you're dealing with speakers, you can get into the sound of the room you were sitting in and the reverb of the room that you were sitting in. But I don't know as much about speakers, so I'll just leave that to the side. There are monitor speakers, but those cost a lot more money than monitor headphones, so yeah. But headphones and audio and microphones and speakers, it's all subjective. It all is. And audio is a journey that you must embark on your own terms with your own special abilities. And the answers you find may be only your answers. And other people may agree with you, other people may disagree with you, but what sounds good to you may not sound good to other people, and that is just how things are. Unfortunately, there are no right answers. Usually, there are some microphones that are just so bad that you shouldn't use them, like the Funny Mic. But then there's the argument that I want to use this microphone because it's so bad that everyone will laugh when I use it. There's the tiers of audio, such as higher end and middle. I don't know what the middle really is because that's also subjective, but there's a higher end audio where you're using like multi-$1,000 headphones, multi-$1,000 microphones, multi-$1,000 interfaces and stuff, and you are recording as high quality of a sample as you possibly can, and you are using crazy instruments in order to alter that audio to make it sound like whatever you want to. And then there's the lower end where you have a webcam and you are screaming as loud as you can because the louder you are, the more the microphone distorts and everyone around you is laughing because of how stupid it sounds. It's a lot of things. It's a lot. But I recommend it. I recommend audio as a journey. I do. Even with all of the nuances and answers that you can find a sound and a style of music and a microphone that suits you so incredibly well that you could never even look back. And that's what I've mostly done here with myself. I like my Wave 1. I don't like my voice, but I do like the way I sound on it. Some people can listen to it and say that this microphone must cost like over $100 when it doesn't. And it's fun. It really is fun. Audio is fun. It is painful sometimes. Sometimes you can spend literal years tuning your microphone because you don't like the sound of your own voice. Not speaking from experience at all. No, totally not. But I recommend it as a journey. I recommend audio as a journey because the answers you can find and the preferences you will find and the peace you can find from just listening to music on your own is awesome. And you might start a podcast on the way. So, yeah, do it if you can. It might be weird to some people, but to other people, like vinyl. It's crazy. You put it onto a player and this thing moves and it makes music. And it's what we had before files. It's crazy. So do it.